The large round room was quiet. Alien beings of all shapes and sizes sat around a big table. They were the Galactic Council, and they ruled over many star systems. Suddenly, a loud beep broke the silence. Everyone looked at the big screen on the wall. "What's that?" asked one alien with blue skin. A small green alien tapped on a device. "It's a signal, sir, from a place we don't know about." The room buzzed with excitement. They had found something new. The leader, a tall alien named Gero, stood up. "We must check this out. Send our best team." Far away, on a ship called Star Seeker, Captain Daho got ready. He was chosen to lead this mission. Daho looked like a normal human, but he wasn't from Earth. He came from a planet called Neoria. "Are we ready to go?" Daho asked his crew. "Yes, Captain," they all said. Daho nodded. "Then let's find out what's sending that signal." The ship flew through space very fast. Stars looked like lines of light outside the windows. After many days, they reached the place where the signal came from. "Captain, look," shouted Yuna, who watched the screens. "There's a solar system ahead." Daho leaned forward in his chair. He saw a yellow star with planets around it. One planet was blue and green. "That planet looks like it could have life," said Daho. "Let's get closer." As they neared the planet, they picked up many signals. There was music, talking, and strange pictures. "Captain, I think there's a civilization down there," said Minho, who listened to the signals. Daho couldn't believe it. They had found a new alien race. "Send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them we found intelligent life." The crew was very excited. They had made a big discovery. "Should we talk to them, Captain?" asked Yuna. Daho thought for a moment. "Yes, but we must be careful. We don't want to scare them." They sent a simple message to the planet. "Hello, we come in peace." For a long time, nothing happened. Then suddenly, a voice came through their speakers. It spoke a language they didn't know. "Minho, can you understand what they're saying?" Daho asked. Minho worked on his computer. "Give me a minute, Captain. I'm using our language tool." After a short while, Minho smiled. "Got it. They're speaking a language called English. They're asking who we are and where we come from." Daho stood up. This was a big moment. "Tell them we are travelers from far away. We want to meet them and learn about them." Minho sent the message. The reply came quickly. "We welcome you. Please come to our space station." The crew cheered. They had done it. They had made first contact with a new species. As they flew towards the space station, Daho saw the planet clearly for the first time. It was beautiful, with blue oceans and green lands. White clouds swirled in its sky. "What do they call their planet?" Daho asked. Minho checked his screen. "They call it Earth, Captain." The space station came into view. It wasn't very big or advanced, but it was a start. Daho felt proud. He would be the first to meet these humans. "Okay, crew," said Daho. "Remember your training. Be friendly, but careful. We don't know much about these humans yet." The ship docked with the station. Daho took a deep breath and walked to the airlock. The door opened slowly. On the other side stood a group of humans. They looked a lot like Daho's people, which surprised him. One human stepped forward. He had dark hair and a kind face. "Welcome to Earth," the human said. "I'm David Kim, Earth's ambassador. We're very happy to meet you." Daho smiled and held out his hand, copying the human's gesture. "Thank you, David Kim. I'm Captain Daho of the Galactic Exploration Fleet. We're happy to meet you too." As they shook hands, Daho knew this was just the beginning. Humans were now part of a much bigger universe. He wondered what would happen next. Would humans join the Galactic Council? What new things would they learn from each other? One thing was sure: the galaxy would never be the same again. 6 months had passed since the first meeting between humans and aliens. Earth was buzzing with excitement. People everywhere talked about the aliens and the big universe out there. In New York, a tall building stood out. It was the new Galactic Council embassy. Inside, Jae-yun, Earth's new ambassador to the stars, got ready for a big meeting. Jae-yun looked in the mirror and straightened her suit. She was nervous but excited. Today, she would speak to the whole Galactic Council for the first time. "You can do this," she told herself. A green alien named Zorp, her helper, came into the room. "Ambassador, it's time," he said. Jae-yun nodded and followed Zorp to a special room. In the middle was a round platform. She stepped onto it and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she was in a huge room on a faraway planet. Aliens of all kinds sat in a circle around her. Some looked like animals, others like plants, and some were just strange shapes. "Welcome, Ambassador Jae-yun," said Guro, the council leader. "Please, tell us about Earth." Jae-yun took a deep breath and began to speak. She told them about Earth's oceans and mountains, its many animals and plants. She talked about human history, about great leaders and terrible wars. The aliens listened closely. They were amazed by how quickly humans had grown from cave people to space travelers. "Humans are very creative," said one alien that looked like a big caterpillar. "They make such interesting art and music." "Yes," said another that glowed like a light bulb. "But they also fight a lot. Isn't that dangerous?" Jae-yun nodded. "We have made many mistakes, but we learn from them. We're always trying to be better." The council talked for hours. They had many questions about Earth and humans. Jae-yun answered as best she could. At the end of the meeting, Guro stood up. "We have decided," he said. "Earth will join the Galactic Council." Jae-yun felt joy fill her heart. This was a big moment for all humans. Back on Earth, things were changing fast. Alien tourists came to visit. They loved human food and music. Many wanted to try pizza and listen to K-pop. Humans, too, were learning alien things. Schools now taught about other planets. Kids played with toy spaceships and alien dolls. But not everyone was happy. Some humans were scared of the aliens. They thought Earth should stay alone. One day, Jae-yun visited a school to talk to kids. A little boy raised his hand. "Miss, are the aliens going to take over Earth?" he asked. Jae-yun smiled kindly. "No, they're not. They're our friends. We're all learning from each other." As weeks passed, more and more alien ships came to Earth. Some humans got worried. They thought Earth was falling behind. In a secret meeting, world leaders talked about this problem. "The aliens think we're weak," said one leader. "We need to show them we're strong." "But how?" asked another. "Their technology is so much better than ours." A scientist named Dr. Kim stood up. "I have an idea," he said. "We can build our own spaceship, the big one. It will show the aliens that humans are smart and strong too." The leaders liked this idea. They agreed to start the project right away. It would be called Project Defiance. Meanwhile, in space, trouble was brewing. A group of mean aliens called the Void Crusaders was attacking planets. They didn't like the Galactic Council and wanted to destroy it. The Council was worried. Their ships weren't strong enough to stop the Void Crusaders. In a big meeting, alien leaders argued about what to do. Some wanted to ask humans for help. Others thought humans were too weak to help. "Humans are too new to space travel," said one alien. "They can't help us fight." Jae-yun stood up. "You're wrong," she said. "Humans are very good at solving problems. We can help if you give us a chance." But the council didn't listen. They thought humans were too young and small to fight in a big space war. Jae-yun left the meeting feeling sad and angry. She knew humans could do great things. Now she had to find a way to prove it. As she looked out at the stars, Jae-yun made a promise to herself. Somehow, she would show the aliens that humans were strong. The fate of Earth and the whole galaxy might depend on it. The big room was full of noise. Alien leaders from all over the galaxy were shouting and arguing. In the middle of it all stood Jae-yun, trying to make sense of what was happening. "Please, everyone, calm down," shouted Garo, the head of the Galactic Council. Slowly, the room got quiet. A tall blue alien stepped forward. "The Void Crusaders have attacked another planet," he said. "We must do something." Jae-yun felt a chill run down her spine. The Void Crusaders were getting bolder and stronger. They had already destroyed 3 planets in the last month. Garo looked worried. "Our ships are not strong enough to stop them," he said. "We need a new plan." Jae-yun raised her hand. "Earth can help," she said. "We have experience with wars. Maybe we can think of a new way to fight." The room was quiet for a moment. Then a small round alien laughed. "You help us. Your ships can barely leave your own solar system." Many other aliens nodded in agreement. Jae-yun felt her face get hot with anger and shame. Garo held up his hand. "Thank you, Ambassador Jae-yun, but I think it's best if Earth stays out of this fight. You are still new to space travel." Jae-yun wanted to argue, but she knew it wouldn't help. She sat down, feeling helpless. After the meeting, Jae-yun sent a message to Earth. She told the world leaders about the Void Crusaders and how the Council wouldn't let Earth help. On Earth, in a secret underground base, Dr. Kim was hard at work. He was leading Project Defiance, the plan to build Earth's first real spaceship. Dr. Kim looked at the big screen on the wall. It showed a picture of a huge ship. It was long and sleek, with big guns on the sides. "How's it going, Dr. Kim?" asked General Park, who had just walked in. Dr. Kim smiled. "Good, very good. We're almost done with the main body." But his smile faded. "But what?" asked General Park. "We need better weapons," said Dr. Kim. "Our guns are not strong enough for space battles." General Park nodded. "I see. Keep working. I'll talk to the world leaders about this." Meanwhile, in a dark part of the galaxy, the Void Crusaders were planning their next attack. Their leader, a scary-looking alien named Draz, stood in front of a map of the galaxy. "Our next target will be here," said Draz, pointing to a bright spot on the map. "It's a big trading planet. When we destroy it, the Galactic Council will be scared and weak." The other Void Crusaders cheered. They were ready for war. Back on Earth, Jae-yun was feeling frustrated. She was in a meeting with world leaders, trying to convince them to do more. "We can't just sit here and do nothing," she said. "The Void Crusaders are getting closer. What if they come to Earth?" One leader spoke up. "But what can we do? The Council won't let us help." Jae-yun thought for a moment. Then she had an idea. "What if we help without telling them? We can build our ship in secret and only show it when it's ready." The room was quiet as everyone thought about this idea. Finally, another leader spoke. "It's risky, but it might be our only choice. Let's do it." They all agreed. Earth would build its ship, no matter what the Council said. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The Void Crusaders kept attacking, and the Galactic Council kept losing. One day, Jae-yun was called to an emergency meeting. When she got there, she saw fear on every alien face. Garo looked tired and scared. "The Void Crusaders are planning to attack Nexus, our most important trading planet," he said. "If they destroy it, our economy will collapse. The whole galaxy will fall into chaos." The room erupted in panic. Aliens were crying and shouting. Jae-yun felt scared too, but she also felt something else: determination. She stood up and spoke loudly. "How long do we have before they attack?" Garo looked surprised at her question. "About 2 Earth months," he said. "Why?" Jae-yun took a deep breath. This was it, the moment Earth had been waiting for. "Because," she said, "Earth is going to help, whether you want us to or not." The room went silent. All eyes were on Jae-yun. She knew that in 2 months, everything would change. The fate of Earth and the whole galaxy was hanging in the balance. Deep underground, in a secret base, Dr. Kim wiped sweat from his forehead. He and his team had been working nonstop for weeks. The huge spaceship in front of them was almost ready. "How's it going, Dr. Kim?" asked General Park, walking into the room. Dr. Kim smiled tiredly. "We're making good progress, General. The ship is nearly complete." They both looked up at the massive ship. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built before. Its smooth, dark surface gleamed under the bright lights. "What about the special weapons?" General Park asked in a low voice. Dr. Kim's eyes lit up. "Ah, you're going to love this. Follow me." They walked to a small room filled with screens and strange machines. Dr. Kim pointed to a glowing blue ball on one of the tables. "This," he said proudly, "is our secret weapon. We call it the Quantum Disruptor." General Park looked confused. "What does it do?" "It creates a field that messes up the atoms in anything it touches," Dr. Kim explained. "It can take apart enemy ships without even touching them." General Park's eyes widened. "Amazing. But will it work?" Dr. Kim nodded. "We've tested it on small scale. It works perfectly." Meanwhile, in space, things were getting worse. The Void Crusaders had destroyed another planet. The Galactic Council was in panic. Jae-yun sat in her office, reading reports. She felt worried but also excited. Earth's ship was almost ready. Soon, they would show the galaxy what humans could do. Her computer beeped. It was a message from Dr. Kim. "Project Defiance is complete. We're ready." Jae-yun's heart raced. She quickly sent a message to the world leaders. "It's time." Back at the secret base, the team was getting the ship ready for its first flight. They had named it HS Defiance. HS stood for Human Spaceship. Captain Ji-soo walked around the ship, checking everything. She had been chosen to lead this important mission. Ji-soo was nervous but ready. "All systems are go, Captain," said her second-in-command, Tae-dong. Ji-soo nodded. "Good. Let's get everyone on board." The crew of 200 men and women boarded the ship. They were the best pilots, engineers, and scientists Earth had to offer. As the last person got on, Dr. Kim approached Ji-soo. "Captain, remember, the quantum disruptor is very powerful. Use it wisely." Ji-soo nodded seriously. "I understand, Dr. Kim. We'll make Earth proud." The ground shook as the Defiance's engines roared to life. Slowly, the massive ship rose from its underground hangar. People watching from far away thought they saw a new mountain appear and then fly away. In space, alien ships noticed something strange coming from Earth. They had never seen a ship so big or so fast from that planet before. On the Galactic Council's main planet, alarms went off. Garo rushed to the control room. "What's happening?" he asked. A blue alien looked up from his screen, looking confused. "Sir, we're detecting a huge ship coming from Earth. It's heading towards Nexus." Garo couldn't believe it. Earth? But they don't have ships that can travel that far. He quickly called for Jae-yun. When she appeared on the screen, she looked calm but determined. "Ambassador, what is the meaning of this?" Garo demanded. Jae-yun stood tall. "We told you we wanted to help. You didn't listen. So we decided to help anyway." Garo was speechless. He didn't know whether to be angry or impressed. In the depths of space, the HSS Defiance flew faster than any human ship before. Inside, the crew worked hard, preparing for what was to come. Captain Ji-soo stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. She knew that the fate of Earth and the whole galaxy rested on their shoulders. "Status report," she called out. Tae-yong checked his screens. "All systems are working perfectly, Captain. We'll reach Nexus in 6 hours." Ji-soo nodded. In 6 hours, they would face the Void Crusaders. In 6 hours, they would show the galaxy what humans could do. "All right, everyone," she said to her crew. This is what we've trained for. Let's make history." As the Defiance sped through space, news of the human ship spread quickly. Aliens everywhere watched and waited. Would this strange, new race be able to stop the Void Crusaders? Or was the galaxy doomed? The stage was set for an epic battle, and humans were ready to prove themselves. The planet Nexus shone like a jewel in space. It was always busy, with ships coming and going. But today was different. Today, everyone was scared. A fleet of dark, scary-looking ships appeared in the distance. The Void Crusaders had come. On Nexus, aliens ran to hide. Alarms rang out everywhere. The planet's defenders got ready to fight, but they knew they didn't stand a chance. Draz, the leader of the Void Crusaders, smiled as he looked at Nexus. "Soon," he said, "the Galactic Council will fall, and we will rule the galaxy." His crew cheered. They thought victory was certain. Suddenly, one of Draz's officers shouted, "Sir, there's another ship coming." Draz frowned. "Is it from the Council?" The officer looked confused. "No, sir. It's coming from the other direction. And it's huge." Far away, on the Galactic Council's main planet, everyone watched on big screens. They could see the Void Crusaders near Nexus, and they could see something else coming. Garo, the council leader, turned to Jae-yun. "Is that your ship?" he asked. Jae-yun nodded, feeling proud and nervous. "Yes, that's the HSS Defiance." As they watched, the human ship came into view. It was bigger than any ship the aliens had ever seen. It shone bright silver against the darkness of space. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Jisoo stood tall. "Status report," she said calmly. Taeyong checked his screens. "All systems are working perfectly, Captain. The Void Crusaders have not noticed us yet." Jisoo nodded. "Good. Let's surprise them. Full speed ahead." The Defiance shot forward, moving faster than any ship in the galaxy. The Void Crusaders didn't know what hit them. "What is that?" Draz shouted as the Defiance appeared nearby. Before anyone could answer, Jisoo's voice came through their speakers. "This is Captain Jisoo of the HSS Defiance. We are here to stop you. Leave now, or we will attack." For a moment, there was silence. Then Draz started to laugh. "You? Stop us? You're just humans. Your ship may be big, but you can't beat us." Jisoo's voice was calm. "This is your last warning. Leave, or face the consequences." Draz was angry now. "Attack," he shouted to his fleet. "Destroy that human ship." The Void Crusaders' ships moved to surround the Defiance. They fired their weapons, expecting to see the human ship explode. But nothing happened. The Defiance was surrounded by a glowing blue shield. The alien weapons couldn't get through. On the Council planet, the aliens watched in amazement. "How is this possible?" Garo asked, his eyes wide. Jae-yun smiled. "Human ingenuity," she said simply. Back on the Defiance, Jisoo turned to her weapons officer. "It's time. Use the quantum disruptor." A blue light shot out from the Defiance. When it touched the Void Crusaders' ships, something strange happened. The ship started to fall apart, piece by piece. Draz couldn't believe his eyes. "What's happening?" he shouted as his ship started to break up around him. In just a few minutes, half of the Void Crusaders' fleet was gone. The rest turned to run away. On Nexus, aliens came out of hiding. They looked up at the sky and cheered. The human ship had saved them. The Galactic Council room was completely silent. Everyone was staring at the screens, their mouths open in shock. Garo turned to Jae-yun, his voice shaking. How did you do that?" Jae-yun smiled. "We told you humans were good at solving problems. We just needed a chance to prove it." As news of the battle spread, aliens everywhere talked about the amazing human ship. They had never seen anything like it. On the Defiance, the crew celebrated. They had won their first space battle. Captain Jisoo looked out at the stars. She felt proud of what they had done. But she knew this was just the beginning. "Good job, everyone," she said to her crew. "But stay alert. The Void Crusaders will be back, and next time, they'll be ready for us." As the Defiance moved to protect Nexus, Jisoo thought about Earth. She hoped they were proud of what their ship had done. The galaxy would never be the same again. And the best part, humans were just getting started. 3 weeks had passed since the HSS Defiance first appeared. The ship stayed near Nexus, protecting it from any more attacks. Captain Jisoo and her crew were always ready. One quiet day, alarms started ringing on the Defiance. Taeyong looked at his screens with wide eyes. "Captain, many ships are coming out of hyperspace." Jisoo rushed to the bridge. She looked at the big screen and frowned. A huge fleet of Void Crusader ships was heading towards them. "How many?" she asked. Taeyong counted quickly. "At least 100 ships, Captain. Much more than last time." Jisoo knew this would be a tough fight. She called the Galactic Council. "We need help," she said. "The Void Crusaders are back, and they brought an army." Guro, the council leader, looked worried. "We'll send all the ships we can," he said, "but it will take time for them to reach you." Jisoo nodded. "We'll do our best to hold them off." She turned to her crew. "This is it, everyone. We're in for a big fight. But remember, Earth is counting on us. The whole galaxy is counting on us. We won't let them down." The crew cheered. They were scared, but ready. The Void Crusader fleet got closer. Their ships looked different now. They had new shields, probably to protect against the quantum disruptor. Draz, the Void Crusader leader, appeared on the Defiance's screen. He looked angry. "You got lucky last time, humans," he said. "But now we're ready for you. Surrender now or be destroyed." Jisoo stood tall. "We will never surrender," she said. "If you want Nexus, you'll have to go through us." Draz smiled wickedly. "So be it." The screen went black. The battle began. The Void Crusaders attacked from all sides. Their new shields were strong, protecting them from the quantum disruptor. The Defiance fought hard. It moved fast, dodging enemy fire and shooting back. But there were so many enemy ships. Inside the Defiance, things were getting tough. The ship shook with every hit. "Shields at 60%, Taeyong shouted. Jisoo knew they needed a new plan. She thought hard, trying to remember everything she knew about the Void Crusaders. Suddenly, she had an idea. "Taeyong, scan their ships. Look for a power source for their shields." Taeyong worked quickly. "Found it, Captain. There's a small device on the back of each ship. It's powering their shields." Jisoo smiled. "Perfect. Here's the plan. We'll use our regular weapons to keep them busy. Then we'll get in close and use the quantum disruptor on those devices." The crew got to work. The Defiance flew right into the middle of the enemy fleet. It was dangerous, but it was their only chance. As they got close to the first ship, Jisoo gave the order. "Now." The quantum disruptor fired. It hit the small device, and suddenly, the enemy ship's shields disappeared. "It worked," Taeyong shouted. "Keep going," Jisoo said. "Take out as many shield generators as you can." The Defiance moved from ship to ship, destroying the shield generators. The Void Crusaders were confused. They didn't know what was happening. Just then, more ships appeared. The Galactic Council's fleet had arrived. With their shields gone, the Void Crusaders were easy targets. Many of their ships were destroyed. Draz was furious. How did they beat us again?" he shouted. On the Defiance, the crew cheered. They were winning. But Jisoo knew it wasn't over yet. "Don't celebrate too soon," she said. "We need to capture their leader." She turned to Taeyong. "Can you find Draz's ship?" Taeyong nodded. "Yes, Captain. It's the big one in the middle." Jisoo smiled. "Perfect. Let's go get him. The Defiance flew straight towards Draz's ship. It fired its weapons, disabling the engines. Draz, Jisoo called. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now. For a moment, there was silence. Then, Draz's angry voice came through. Never. But it was too late. The Defiance used its tractor beam to pull Draz's ship in. The battle was over. The Void Crusaders were defeated, and their leader was captured. As the Defiance headed back to Nexus, the crew was tired but happy. They had won against impossible odds. Jisoo looked out at the stars. She thought about Earth, so far away. We did it, she said quietly. We showed them what humans can do. The galaxy would never be the same again. And it was all thanks to human ingenuity and bravery. The huge meeting room of the Galactic Council was packed. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled every seat. They were all there for one reason: to talk about humans. At the front of the room, Captain Jisoo stood next to Ambassador Jaehyun. They both looked tired but proud. It had been a week since the big battle at Nexus. Garo, the council leader, raised his hands for quiet. The room fell silent. We are here today, Garo said, to honor the bravery and ingenuity of the human race. A cheer went up from the crowd. Many aliens waved little Earth flags. Garo continued, the humans, who we once thought were too young for space travel, have saved us all. They defeated the Void Crusaders when no one else could. He turned to Jisoo and Jaehyun. We owe you a great debt. How can we repay you? Jaehyun stepped forward. We don't want payment, she said. We only ask to be treated as equals. Humans want to work with the council, not for it. Garo nodded. Of course. From this day forward, Earth will have a permanent seat on the Galactic Council, and Captain Jisoo will lead our new combined defense fleet. The room erupted in cheers again. Jisoo felt overwhelmed. She had only wanted to protect Earth, and now she was in charge of protecting the whole galaxy. As the meeting went on, aliens came up to talk to Jisoo and Jaehyun. They all wanted to know more about Earth and humans. How did you build such an amazing ship? One alien asked. What other inventions do you have? Asked another. Jisoo and Jaehyun answered as best they could. They were happy that aliens were finally seeing humans as smart and capable. Meanwhile, back on Earth, people were celebrating. The news of the Defiance's victory had reached every corner of the planet. Humans were proud to be part of the galactic community. In the secret base where the Defiance was built, Dr. Kim was already working on new ideas. If we can build one great ship, he said to his team, we can build a whole fleet. The world's leaders agreed. They decided to start a new project called Galactic Hope. Its goal was to build more ships like the Defiance to help protect the galaxy. Weeks passed, and things began to change. Alien tourists started visiting Earth in large numbers. They were fascinated by human culture, food, and music. Humans, too, were eager to learn. Schools started teaching about alien cultures and languages. Many young people dreamed of joining the Galactic Defense Fleet. One day, as Jisoo was inspecting the Defiance, she got a call from Jaehyun. Captain, Jaehyun said, looking excited, we just got great news. The Council has decided to make Earth the center for galactic defense training. Jisoo was surprised. Really? That's amazing. Jaehyun nodded. They said that humans have a unique way of thinking that could help train others. You'll be in charge of the program. Jisoo felt honored but also a bit scared. It was a big responsibility, but she knew humans were good at facing challenges. I'll do my best, she said. As the weeks turned into months, the galaxy entered a new era of peace and cooperation. The Void Crusaders were gone, and new friendships were forming between different alien races. Earth became known as the Innovator Planet. Aliens came from all over to learn human ways of solving problems. Humans, in turn, learned amazing things from their new alien friends. One evening, Jisoo stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking out at the stars. Taeyong came to stand beside her. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" he asked. Jisoo smiled. "Never, but I'm glad we did." She thought about how far humans had come. From being seen as too young for space to becoming leaders in the galaxy. It was an amazing journey. "What do you think will happen next?" Taeyong asked. Jisoo looked out at the endless stars. "I don't know," she said, "but whatever it is, I'm sure humans will be ready for it. After all, that's what we do best, face the unknown and find a way to succeed." As the Defiance cruised through space, Jisoo felt excited about the future. Humans had proven themselves to the galaxy, and this was just the beginning of their great adventure among the stars.